It seems like we're back. What's going on here? What's going on? Are we live? Are we alive here? Is everything working? Can you see me? Can I see me? Because it says that hello again. Are we back on? Is this like the same stream? Did we do it? It looks like we did it because you said yes. So if you were here, then that means that unless this is a second video now that somehow has 6 likes, and I'm not sure. Let me refresh this and see if it... Blah! Friggin'. There we are. And here. And there. And everywhere. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what's going on. Can y'all guys see this? Well, drat. It's... Alright, so that's really weird, because I just got a no from Banana on the stream, and I just got a no from Yossi in the chat room. But you both said no, all lowercase. So it's like, what? YouTube, why have you forsaken me? What is even happening? I don't understand. Live streaming. Oh my god, are there 2 live streams? Is that what's going on? If I come into the live streaming section of the channel, does it now be like, hey dog, here's 2 different streams. Look at your events. What are my events? Yep, there we go. Okay, so I've got 2, and I'm not sure even which is got... Gosh, darn it. Okay, so 1 watching now on one of the streams, and that is... Which one is... I just don't get it. This is very confusing. It's as if there are 2. Okay, so that's the one with the close-up. That's the one with the far up. So this is the one someone's watching now. So if I come in here to the chat, so this is where people are able to see it now. Okay, so I'm going to name this one Part 2. This is officially just stream Part 2, because gosh darn diddly arn it. Gosh darn it diddly arn it. So this is Part 2. Save it. Let me go over to Part 1. All right. This is now Part 1, and I'm deleting it. So we'll go up to the top. We'll edit the info. That was a good live stream. I'm confused as to what just happened there. Part 1. Saved. Go to control room. Go to control room. Stop version 1. Okay. Complete. And now Part 2. All right. We are back, and everything makes sense again. Sort of. Not sure what happened with the crash there, but we're coming down to the ending stretch of this story. We're about... Oh, no, we're only like halfway down. Let's get to friggin' work. Let me go pop in the Discord and say, hey, guys, we're doing this again. Images. General. Well, that went to hell, but it's back on now. All right. Dear Lord, where was I? Where was I even at?
Empty eyes.
Empty eyes.
As they sank back into the blackness. Empty eyes.
but somehow full of promise. Okay. All right, organized and empty eyes, but somehow full of promise. Her heart pounded, and the taste of bile was in her throat. She tried to stand, but she was lightheaded, her ankle was throbbing. She had to run. She had to run. Every second not running was death. Dragging herself up on a cabinet, she tried to think, eyes flicking between the ruined radio and the puckered bruises on the wall and floor. Run. Where? Guard's office. The alarm. She forced herself forward, gasping at the pain in her foot. Her lungs burned. Every shadow in the half-lit hallway loomed like a threat. Not much further now. Don't look behind. Each step was a battle, trying to move faster, to stop her leg from buckling. Forward momentum was the only thing keeping her upright. She rounded the last corner, saw the guard station at the end of the hall. It looked empty. She could make it. With a grunt of effort, she pushed herself to a final run, closing the final yards and crashing through the guardroom doors. Her first step inside sank shin deep into the frothing muck that used to be the floor. She fell, and her hands were caught too, skin burning as they were sucked deeper into the ground. Looking up, she could see the console with the alarm button just out of reach, and she wailed in sick despair. It was the last sound she made before the world was consumed by night. Death did not come. She was submerged in a lake of pitch, but somehow the researcher could still breathe, could still think. Was she still falling? She couldn't tell. All feeling had vanished, her skin no longer stinging, although the blood still pounded in her ankle. She stayed there suspended for minutes, unsure of the passing of time, of what this meant. Then the gloom lightened, blurred, and resolved into a tiled floor. The gray light showed her a room she didn't recognize, but which was somehow familiar. Dust, dead leaves and scraps of metal were strewn across the floor, and one of the walls had buckled in on itself. She pulled herself over to the door and looked out into a dilapidated hallway, mold and rust covering the ceiling, and the floor contorted like a writhing snake. There were no lights, but the hall was lit by a green-gray shadow. Drat! What is that pose I do at the start of every stream? Asked Banana. That is a salute. Hey guys, how you doing kind of salute.
There were no lights, but the hall was lit by a green-gray shadow. There were no lights.
There were no lights. But the hall was lit by a green-gray glow. But the hall was lit by a gray-green glow, a sickly aurora undulating sluggishly across every surface. She'd been right. It was a dimensional anomaly, probably controlled by that thing. Drat. Mumblemouth, Mumblemouth.
There were no lights, but the hall was lit. It was a dimensional anomaly.
It was a dimensional anomaly. Probably controlled by that thing. The researcher felt desperate. Probably it had made this place or had lived here for years. I can do better than that.
Probably controlled by that thing. The researcher felt desperate. Probably it had made this place or had lived here for years.
Clear that, clear that. Oh, we got a party going on over in the Discord? Have to check that out.
Probably controlled by that thing. The researcher felt desperate.
The researcher felt desperate. Probably it had made this place, or had lived here for years, so it would know every inch. But if she had fallen into it, that meant there was a way out. She just had to keep moving, and she would find it. I don't like how I said that one, okay.
She just had to keep moving, and she would find it. The researcher felt desperate. Probably it had made this. Felt desperate. Probably it had made this place, or had lived here. That meant there was a way out.
That meant there was a way out. She just had to keep moving, and she would find it. She limped into the corridor, clambering over collapsed furniture and wiping plaster dust from her hands. The familiarity is word. Ain't no party like a cold post party in the Discord. Yep, check the links in the description. SCP Site 42 Discord, if that's a thing you want to do. Channel Discord, hang out with us, shoot the shit, party on.
Dust from her hands.
Wiping plaster dust from her hands. The familiarity of the place snatched at her thoughts, but she tried to ignore them. Keep going forward. Look for an exit. Don't think about what might be behind you. Don't think about Frank. Don't think about that grin, those eyes. A metallic buzzing grew louder, and she realized that it had been... Meh.
A metallic buzzing grew louder, and she realized that it had been...
A metallic buzzing grew louder.
The familiarity... Metallic buzzing grew...
A metallic buzzing grew louder. And she realized that it had been there since she arrived in this place. She tried to move faster. A gust of wind blew around her, fetid. Her heart was racing again. This place was familiar, but how? She needed to stop, just for a moment. She grabbed at a door handle, relief flooding her when it opened. She walked into her old apartment and spun in confusion. This was impossible. The disarray of the halls was gone. Everything was in its proper place. But nothing about this place was proper. She had left this apartment 20 years ago. The building had been torn down. The researcher sped across the room, the need to rest forgotten. Everything here was hers. Her books, her furniture. The window showed the same view, an incongruously bright day. How? She raced to her bedroom, her bed made, everything neatly put away. She opened the closet, and the corpses fell out onto her. It was a mountain of decomposing limbs and organs, limp and slick. They slithered down at her under the weight of the pile, trailing gore. She retched at the deep, foul smell of putrescence. Ah, putrescence!
She retched at the deep, foul smell of putrescence.
I was so... Banana, skeletons in your closet, that's... You right, bro. You right. No, don't start at the beginning.
Trailing gore. They slithered down at her under the weight of the pile. They slithered down at her under the weight of the pile. Or she retched at the deep. Trailing gore. She retched at the deep.
She retched at the deep. She retched at the deep. She retched at the deep. Foul smell of foul smell of putrescence. Foul smell of putrescence, flailing wildly to pull herself free. A bloated hand pawed at her leg as it fell. Drat! This is messing with me. Foul smell of putrescence, flailing wildly to pull herself free. Pull herself free? Dang it! Foul smell of putrescence, flailing wildly to pull herself free. A bloated hand pawed at her leg as it fell, and she felt something slippery and soft under her feet as she stood. This assemblage would have taken dozens of bodies, she thought, still gagging. It slumped further. It exposed a face she recognized. Frank. A deep hole where his eye had been, and his neck was torn open, black jelly dripping from the flesh. Her eyes scanned the line of his body and saw his leg twisted viciously upwards, exposed bone protruding where the foot had been ripped off. She was trying to hold in a scream when she heard movement from the back of the closet. Without thinking, she ran. Behind her, the sounds of sinewy limbs. Farewell, Banana.
She ran.
She ran.
Etched at the deep, foul smell of putrescence. Without thinking, she ran.
Without thinking, she ran. Behind her, the sounds of sinewy limbs pulling themselves clear of the corroded wall. She bolted for the door to her apartment, ankles screaming at her. She could feel the old man enter the room, only a few steps back. The metallic buzz constricted around her as she emerged. Staggering down the hallway, realization overwhelmed her. This wasn't some old hospital or school. Her apartment had given her the answer. It was twisted, corrupted, but this was Site 120. She couldn't think about why that was. What it meant right now was that she might know a way out. She took another left turn. Man, this is getting intense. I'm so close to the end of the story and it's getting crazy.
Was that she might know a way out.
She might know a way out. She took another left turn, skidding on the wet floor and crashing her head on the opposite. Dang it! She took another left turn, skidding on the wet floor and crashing her head on the opposite wall. Her ears rang. The footsteps behind her were louder, closer. She dragged herself onwards, her breath a whimper from the pain in her foot. One more corridor and she could be back in the guard room. One more corridor and she should be back to the guard room. Gotta get that rhythm right. Gotta keep that rhythm. Gotta build the intensity. Gotta make it spoopy. It's Halloween season, man. And nothing scarier than 106. Oh my lord. She hoped like hell that the dimensional parallels held up. The footsteps grew closer. She could hear the drip of ichor. Her vision grew dark. The hall telescoped in front of her. A hand clutched at her back, her lab coat melting to tatters. The guard room was just ahead. She was exhausted. She couldn't make it. The floor beneath her started to bubble. She could hear the drip of ichor. Is it ichor or ichor? Ichor or ichor? Ichor or ichor? Ah, you must be Igor. No, it's pronounced Igor. Oh, welcome back, Banana. We were just debating the pronunciation of ichor / ichor. Pronunciation, ichor. Let's find out what we got. How to pronounce ichor.
Ichor or ichor.
All right, it's ichor.
Ichor or ichor.
Cool. All right. It was ICHOR is the word we were looking at.
The floor beneath her started to bubble. She could hear the drip of ichor.
So yes, we don't need that take because I said it right the first time. Yeah! That's how I like it. Now I'm going to verify that I said it right because I got to double check myself before I double wreck myself.
She hoped like hell that the dimensional parallels held up. Steps could hear the drip of ichor.
Yeah, I did it. I did it. I did it on the first try. Trust your instincts because they rule. Okay, where was I?
The floor beneath her started to bubble.
The floor beneath her started to bubble. With a yell, she crashed through the guardroom doors again, pushing through the oily puddle behind them and surfacing in the real Site-120. The ghoul was still behind her. She fell hard on the console and slammed her hand down on the Drat!
She fell hard.
She fell hard. She fell hard, man!
The ghoul was still behind.
The ghoul was still behind her. She fell hard on the console and slammed her hand down on the alarm. Klaxons blared, and the emergency light flashed. She turned, pushing herself as far as she could into the corner of the console, but the old man had halted in the middle of the room. It was staring at the light. She heard a new noise, like a deep growl. Suddenly, she realized that the corpse before her had a new lump of... Drat!
Suddenly,
Misphrasing words, putting them out of order. A little bit of lysdexia. Okay, going back. Chew up.
we heard a new noise.
Like a deep growl. Suddenly, she realized that the corpse before her had a lump of new fresh. Suddenly, she realized that the corpse before her had a lump of new flesh in its throat, bloody and ragged. Frank's throat, she realized, and her stomach dropped. She looked again at the old man, seeing its misshapen carcass, patched and scarred. The old man was still transfixed by the light. Its growl built in intensity. Red. Provided by Yossi. Subway, eat flesh.
Suddenly, red.
Her mouth went dry. The thing looked at her with its dead eyes. And it said, like a sigh. And she made no sound. Her mind was screaming. The old man took a step towards her. Another step. 5 years, 11 months, 21 days, and 25 more years after that. Falling apart, rebuilding itself, rebuilding its world for her. It held up its left hand. She could see the mark where the ring had been. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The old man reached towards her, tenderly holding her cheek. Her skin puckered and liquefied, flesh dripping from her face. It brought its grinning mouth to hers and kissed her, and her teeth became hot wax, fusing and corroding. She screamed then. The old man pressed his kiss harder into her open mouth, his swollen gray tongue melting hers and filling her throat with molten muscle and caustic jelly. The last thing she felt was the weight of the two of them sinking into the floor, locked in a final, burning embrace. Woo! Woo! We did it! We fucking did it! That's the end. That is the story. Just gotta edit and get a girl's voice. And once I get a girl's voice, Yossi, I'm gonna check out your takes again now that it's been a little while. Now that we got this, I'm gonna plug them in and see if we need to like reshoot, because you can seem to get those takes to me pretty quickly. So if you can just be ready for me to be like, let's do that again. But yeah, I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna throw together I'm gonna get one of the girls to make this thing happen, because Anna only has like 10 lines, like 5 lines. Celebrates ultra mega super double secreter ketter doo doo. Holy hell. Holy hell. It's a really good catchphrase. It works for everything. All right, so guys, we did it. Live stream until death in 2 parts because of technical difficulties. But yeah, I'm gonna get to editing this, and this should be out this week, because I have with 2317 out of the way, I have 2 videos in the backlog. That's 3080 and 3041. So those 2 are ready to release, and then this one will wait until I get a girl voice. This one will get a girl voice after your call is important to us, because I owe Russell that one from the 250 subscription challenge, and we're at like 415 now, so goddamn, I need to get that one out soon. All right, so yeah, everybody who tuned into the live stream, thank you guys for tuning in. Do all of the links in the description, like the Patreon and the store and the Discord, especially the Discord, because then we can hang out and chat more. I will see you guys in Site 42. See you later, Foundation staff. Turning off the camera, turning shit.